Hi, and welcome to another SEO Hangout with Josh Bachynski. That would be me. Today I've got some very excellent SEO leaks for you. Some final Penguin leaks. The story about Penguin 4 or Penguin Real Time or the Penguin released in 2016 around September 23rd, 2016, although there was some testing beforehand and after. That's the Penguin I'm talking about. You should ignore all previous mentions of Penguin because this new Penguin works completely differently. New information has come out about that I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to share with you the actual secret way it's working, despite the way people say it's working. I'll get to that in a second. I can defend that claim. I'll get to that in a second. And also, I'm going to go through my vaults. I'm going to open up my SEO vaults, and I'm going to go through all the top crazy SEO leaks that have been going on in probably the last 6 months or so, that have been kind of overshadowed by other things that have been going on and that you might not have noticed and that nobody else in the mainstream SEO media is reporting on. So I will get to that in just a second. If you have any questions at all about anything in this Hangout, if you have any SEO questions, you need help with your SEO sites or anything like that, you can always contact me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can follow me at Twitter at joshbachynski. And you can follow me and get more SEO videos like this with experiments, leaks, and the actual real between the lines, what's going on with Google at youtube.com/jbachyns. It's JBACHYNS. So, and also, one last little proviso. Also, I'm going to be releasing, I just want to mention now, at the end of the Hangout, I'm going to be mentioning this more, but I'm presenting at a conference in a few weeks. It's called SEO Rockstars. It's not to be confused with the SEO Rockstars podcast. This is an underground SEO conference that is usually kind of black hat-ish. I'm pretty much the only white hat who's there, or the white hat-ish guy who's there. I'm not any hat, I don't care. I'm results hat, so I'll do whatever works for the client. But usually that means I'm more white hat because of the risk involved black hat. Anyway, much longer proviso than I was expecting. I'm presenting this conference. I'm presenting on 2 days, and you really want to go to this conference if you really want to learn SEO. And here's the reason why. If you like anything that I say, and if you've been watching me for a while, and you're like, geez, I wish I can get Josh to do an audit on my site, or geez, I wish, or you can email me and I'll do it. But if you're like, I wish I could get all the SEO information out of this guy's brain that Brian he's got in here. I call my brain Brian Cranston. If you've watched Brian Cranston's Sweet 60th parody on Jimmy Kimmel, that's how my brain operates. Anyway, never mind. That's a complete aside. So I'm presenting this conference. If you like anything I say about SEO, and you've ever wanted to know what I think about SEO completely, I mean to open up all the secrets and tell you all the things that I usually can't mention on these videos because I might get in trouble, or I can't release certain things because then Google will be onto it and they'll change things. If you want to know all the stuff I know about SEO in one consolidated place, you want to come to this conference, because on the first day, I'm doing a complete overview of SEO, my standard 2016 kind of overview PowerPoint, which goes over SEO entirely, including kind of like my ad libs on it, including what the new stuff that's happening about Penguin, which I'll cover a lot of that today. But on the second day, I'm going to open up my audit. I'm going to say, here's my standard audit that I do. I'm going to do an audit in front of the seminar, the conference room. It's a smaller, it's more like a class, maybe more like a class, like a seminar conference kind of setting. And I'm going to actually do an audit or show you my audit of what I do, which is essentially my SEO Bible, which has all the secrets and all the knowledge built into it. And I'll show you how I apply it to actually rank sites. So this will be probably the most comprehensive, without hyperbole or sounding exceedingly conceited. People who are used to listening to me are used to fairly exceedingly conceited statements from me. But this is going to be the best SEO conference ever, more or less, because I'm going to completely show you how to go from zero to hero in SEO. I'm going to show you how to go from zero, not ranking at all, to completely ranking with all my examples and all my audits and all my stuff that I do, and all of the leaks that Google's told me over the years and all the knowledge that I've been able to gather through that. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So if you can make it to this conference, by all means, that'd be a fantastic thing. You should email me, and I'll email you the link to go. It is an affiliate link. I'll give you full disclosure now. But I'm not doing this to make the money. I'm doing this to provide the information. I don't get paid anything to go to the conference. So that might reimburse a little bit of my costs. But by all means, if you're like, I want to go, but it's I believe a ticket is $695 for 2 days, $1,500 for the full 3 days, and the third day is like a top secret seminar where all the SEOs are just going to give out all their secrets. So you can go to the 2 days, you can go to the 3 days, but it's not that expensive for a conference like this. And so, again, by all means, the link I'll give you is the affiliate link. Or by all means, I'll say, here's another link. I don't care. Buy it without my affiliate link. I don't care, really. I just want people to know who've been listening to me for a while and really like what I say about SEO. If you want to know what I'm talking about in terms of SEO, you'll want to go to this conference. It's November 3rd to 5th, I believe, around there, 2nd to 5th or something like that. And you'll want to go to this conference because I'll be opening up and saying everything. Now, with that being said, so email me if you're interested in this, and we could talk about it further. Now, that being said, Penguin 4. So a lot of crazy stuff has been going on with Penguin 4. This is the real-time version of Penguin, which Google has released. And a lot of information has come out about this. So I'm going to go through my notes, and then I'm going to kind of collapse it all. Then after that, I'm going to go through the greatest leaks that have been going on. And I'm going to go Penguin 4, I'm going to be very discussional. And then when I get to the leaks the last 6 months, I'm just going to rapid fire go through. After you hear one, pause it, think about it, press play again. I'm just going to go through like that. So Penguin 4. Now, so on October 11th, Barry Schwartz, my bestie friend, Barry Schwartz, from SE Roundtable, had an interview with Gary Ilyish, who was a Google employee. Gary Ilyish and John Mueller are kind of the two primary Google employees these days who are giving out the most Google information. They had a discussion, and basically, fascinating. Gary Ilyish admitted in this discussion, both a Facebook discussion and a verbal discussion that he had with Barry. Gary admitted that they have link labels. So when you probably already know, and if you don't, this is really important. People like John Mueller and Gary Ilyish and people working on the Webmaster Trends Analyst team and also people working on the web spam team kind of have the Google view. So it's like a standard web browser. Reports are is that it's a standard web browser, but they can see little tags of what's affecting this site and what's going on for the rankings. And he says they have link labels. Gary Ilyish says they have link labels, and that their spam team can see these link labels. And so there'll be like a Penguin real-time link label, a disavow link label if it's in your disavow file, a sidebar link label, a footer link label, main body text link label, all these kinds of link labels which allow them to diagnose how spammy-ish or how the status of your ranking and what's ranking you and what's ranking you and what's not ranking you, and kind of the status of these links and how spammy they are. And so Gary Ilyish admitted, and I think unwittingly admitted in this conversation and also he admitted that the Penguin real-time algorithm is not demoting. So unlike Penguin 1 to 3, Penguin 4, Penguin real-time is not demoting you because of these links. All it does is devalue these links. So what does that mean? So Penguin 1 to 3 would find a bunch of spam over-optimized links, and if you went over a certain threshold, they would put a flag on your entire site which would demote you in rankings. That's how it used to work. Penguin 4, Gary Ilyish explains, is not working that way at all. Penguin 4 finds a bunch of spammy links pointing to your site, and all it does is devalue those links. So your site was ranking higher and higher and higher and higher until Penguin 4 sees those spammy links and you're back down to where you were. Not an extra anchor put on you, just to where you were. So it's devaluing any links that look over-optimized. What kind of links is it looking for? Gary Ilyish and John Mueller have also admitted that kind of information as well. It's mostly looking, and I got John Mueller on a recent hangout. I was actually able to speak with him directly, and he admitted to me that and to the rest of the hangout, that it's more, it is looking at a little bit of the page, because I have another leak coming up to prove that as well. The target page, it's looking at a bit of your target page, but it's mostly looking at the backlink page and what the backlink page is like. And is it a forum profile? Is it a forum link? Is it an over-optimized link? Is it a spammy? If there's any spamminess going on back here, so basically think of any of the kind of links that GSA makes, or any of the kind of links that SE Nuke would make, or any of the kind of links you can buy on Fiverr, or any of the kind of links that Google sees people doing, because Google looks at all this stuff. Those are the kind of links that, one, are going to be penguinified, that are spammy. Also, any kind of links that SEOs think are spammy that they're putting in the disavow file. So anything that looks remotely like a fly-by-night kind of blog with chiropractor articles, law articles and herbal pill articles all in the same blog, and it's only 4 months old and has a standard template and it looks like crap and it's got tags all over the place, that's the kind of backlink, and it's an exact match backlink, exact match query. If you're trying to rank for buy red apples and all your anchor text says buy red apples here, and that's what they click on, those are the kind of links that are going to get penguinified, right? Because those are the spammy links. So I'm decoding what they mean when they talk, right, for you guys. So here's what we know. So Penguin 4 is real time. It processes when they process the links. They make it part of the PageRank collection of algorithms that processes links on a daily basis. And at that time, it'll make an analysis. It'll make a judgment. Is this over a certain spam threshold based on where it's coming from and what it's pointing to? And if it's over a certain spam threshold, it's just a simple Bayesian filter like they use for any spam, like your email spam, for example. Then what they will do is they will put a Penguin real-time flag on that link and they will devalue it. It'll make it no follow. It won't give you any juice at all. And so that's fine. And so everyone's rejoicing. Everyone's like, oh, great. That's the way Penguin works. Fantastic. Let's have a party. Woohoo. And they think Black Hat thinks this is wonderful because they're not going to get a penalty anymore from Penguin. Now they can just Black Hat spam away. And, even if Google is putting a Penguin flag on 99% of these spammy links back here, at least 1% are going to count. And so slowly, very, very slowly, so they think over time, you're going to get rankings that go higher because they're just devaluing these links here. Oh, but wait, there's a caveat. And this is the caveat that most people in the industry have missed. That Gary Ilyish said in the same conversation with Barry Schwartz that, oh yeah, and then if you have too many Penguin real-time flagged links, the manual team is going to get triggered, and the manual team will come over and take a look at them. And the implication is, from Gary Ilyish, the direct implication was, from this conversation, you can go back and look at it yourself. The direct implication was that the manual team is going to be triggered to look at these too many spammy links, if you have too many of them. And if you don't also have a disavow label on a certain percentage of them, nobody knows, a certain percentage of them. Now I asked John Mueller afterwards, and he said, the majority of your links, if they're spammy, it's a small percentage is fine. But if you go over a nugget of spammy links that are not also disavowed, and that percentage is getting like to 20, 30, 40, 50% of your link profile, it's around 20, 30, 40% of your link profile where the manual team is going to be triggered. I'm interpreting his words, but this is what I do for a living. I interpret his words. He said, if the majority of your links are fine, you'll be okay. So I don't know what the majority means in exact statistical percentages. So my read to be safe is if you have 20 to 30 to 40% of those backlinks of your total backlink portfolio is penguiny, spammy, of what I just described over here, then the manual team is going to get triggered. And if you don't have a certain amount of those disavowed, the manual team is going to put a manual action on your site. And it could be an action versus links, or it could be an action versus site. So are you following me so far? This is getting more complex, right? This is the way Google is operating. They're getting more and more complex. Okay, so let me recap. So Penguin 4 is a real-time algorithm. It runs every day. It's going to scan every one of your links to see if it's penguiny. That's to say spammy. If it finds it spammy in terms of the backlink page it's coming from, and in terms of the overall optimization of that page, factored against the overall optimization of your page, and if it's exact match anchor text, then it might decide that if over a certain threshold, who knows what it is, it's going to decide if it doesn't trust any of these links, then these links, exact match, are going to be penguinified. And then if you have too many penguinified links, 20, 30, 50% of your backlink portfolio pointing to your site is these spammy kind of penguin flagged links, which you will never know. You will never know if it is. Your rankings will just stay the same. They won't go down, they won't go up. They'll just be building these crap links and they'll stay the same. All of a sudden, the manual team is going to catch on to this. They're going to manually, with their own human eyeballs, investigate your backlink portfolio, and more than likely, they're going to push the flush button, and you're going to get one of two kind of manual link penalties. You're going to get the link penalty versus your links, where they send you a notice saying, hey, we don't like some of these links pointing to you, we're going to discount these links. And they might discount a few more than what the Penguin algorithm has on there, and so your rankings might go down a bit. Or they're going to say, we're going to do a manual action against your entire site because the majority of your link portfolio and your site looks spammy. It looks like you've been trying to break our rules, and then you will see a big drop in ranking probably, if you had any good rankings to begin with. So that was their end game, guys. Read between the lines here. So this penguin people thought was a godsend, but it's not. It just means, then this is the reason why it was taking so long for them to make, that Gary Ilyish already admitted, and Matt Cutts admitted to me personally in a conversation a few years ago before he quit, is that they're having trouble disambiguating negative SEO attempts from earnest black hat SEO attempts, because essentially they look virtually identical. There's no way to tell the difference between the two. You'll have a site that's going along, all of a sudden it'll get a stream. They're checking the order that links are built in. Matt Cutts admitted to me they wrote an algorithm to do that. And so they'll have a site going along, and all of a sudden a bunch of black hat links will be pointed to it, and then it'll be going along, more black hat links will be pointing to it. But that doesn't tell them if it was their attempt to rank or some negative SEO trying to de-rank them, right? And there's a bigger question, and I'm going to answer it after this as well. But this was their end game. So basically they're admitting defeat. They're saying we've worked on this for years. It's been well over a year, almost 2 years since the last Penguin 3 was released. They're like, okay, we've been working on this for years. We can't disambiguate the difference between negative SEO and positive SEO anywhere near close to what we want. It was a public relations nightmare to release Penguin 3 with so much collateral damage that assholes like Josh, this asshole right here, and other assholes, critique them on and made videos about, and hey, even made a documentary about, which is coming out soon, my documentary, about how the collateral damage and what they're doing to small businesses and destroying small businesses. Of course, my documentary is about far more than just Penguin. It's about their entire modus operandi of destroying small businesses in favor of brands, which they're doing, by the way, if you didn't know. Of course you do. So at least that's my philosophical take on it. You don't have to agree with my philosophical take, but you can still get my SEO knowledge. By all means, we'll get back to that. So this was their end game all along, guys. They could not algorithmically sufficiently disambiguate between negative SEO attempts and earnest black hat attempts. So now what they're doing is they're just bubbling up to the manual team. This was their end game. So they go, okay, tell you what, fine, this is what we'll do. Because they already had algorithms, and John Mueller admitted this point blank, that they already had algorithms that ignored links. This is essentially another algorithm to ignore links. So basically, they've stopped. Penguin is dead. Penguin, as we knew it, as a demoting algorithm, is dead. And Gary Ilyish also admitted they released this in stages. So the first stage back in August, I've been tracking this since August. Back in August, what they did is they released all the Penguin 3 sites. I saw a bunch of previously Penguin 3 sites get released, except ones that hadn't put links in the disavow file. Ones who did put links in the disavow file didn't get any release at all. Ones who ignored the disavow file as if it didn't exist got a huge release. You can watch my previous videos, right? The spooky astrology site got that big boost in that release because he didn't do any of the disavowing stuff. He just left it alone. His rankings were like this, like it was like this, Penguin, this, August, boom, right? So sites like that, I've got a few of them, and other people have shown a few of them. Gary Ilyish admitted there was lots of components to this new Penguin. They released Penguin 3. I asked John Mueller to confirm, can we assume that all Penguin 1 to 3 sites have now been released and that algorithm's done? He said, yes, point blank. I said, good. I moved on. And so then after that, then they released, and they renamed their link ignoring algorithms to Penguin Real Time. And then all that does now, the only change now is that it bubbles up more judiciously. It bubbles up more prodigiously. It bubbles up more easily. How many more illy adjectives can I think of? It bubbles up more assholey to the manual team. Because at the end of the day, they failed to write an algorithm that can disambiguate between negative SEO attempts and earnest black hat attempts. So they're going to have a human being with eyeballs look at it and make their gut determination as to whether you have been doing the spamming or someone else has been doing the spamming against you. And and this is my guess, but it's a pretty good guess. And if they have any doubt at all, they're going to give you the manual action versus links and see what you do. If you have a knee-jerk reaction and go, put everything in the disavow file, then they're going to go, good, okay, fine, cleaned up. We don't have to worry about it. We'll just penguinify. Anything you put in the disavow file is going to put a Penguin real-time flag on it. Boom, right? If it's anywhere near in correlation with the other bad Penguin links. You're self-reporting yourself. You're just hurting yourself, right? So again, as I've said before, If you have a manual action versus links, do nothing. You do absolutely nothing. And I've tested this. People's rankings have not gone down. You just do nothing. You ignore the versus links manual action. If it's a manual action versus site, your rankings will have gone down. You have to do something. You have to, and it has never changed. It has not changed now, and it won't ever change probably in the future. You need to go back and delete your links. And those links you cannot delete. You have to put in the disavow file, and you have to write a letter saying you'll never do it again, begging forgiveness, and you have to make them believe it. You have to make them believe it was an accident, you'll never do it again, you don't know what it is, you're just a dumb webmaster, I don't know what's going on, and you'll never do it again. If you make them believe it, then the actual human being believe it. On the manual web spam team, they'll go, okay, they'll release you, they will disavow all those links for you, they will release you, and then you won't have the demotion anymore. So you were here, you'll go down to here, you'll come back up to here. Does that make sense? So you have the manual action, you were ranking here, got the manual action, disavow and delete a bunch of links, they release you, you go back up to here. You will not go back up to here moving forward for the future because a bunch of your links got deleted and or disavowed and or you admitted that they were bad, and so the manual team is not going to put you right back to where you were. You'll be very lucky indeed if you go back to anywhere near where you were. If it's just like one or two links that you can point to, and I've done this actually for clients, I noticed there was just one or two links that were actually the bad ones that pointed to. I wrote them literally a reconsideration request saying, Google, what's your problem? Is it this link you have a problem with? If that's the link you have a problem with, I'll delete it and it'll be gone in a second. This is just an affiliate, because I was working for a company that had affiliates. So this is just an affiliate who got a little link happy. It's just one of our crazy affiliates. I'll gladly remove it if you want me to. Sign my name, email address, phone number, call me if you have a problem with it. And then literally a week later, we got the notice saying, oh, we've removed your manual penalty. That's all I did. I wrote them a scathing letter saying, is this the link you have a problem with? I can have it gone in a second if you want. This is just an zealous affiliate. And they're like, oops, sorry. So they're human beings. They make a mistake. And they try to be forgiving because they think they're the good guys, right? Now, of course, people like me say they're not forgiving enough, anywhere near enough. But remember, they try to be forgiving. And this is, and on one hand, to give them credit, this is to congratulate them a little bit that at least they decided to devalue. At least they decided not to run an algorithm, a heartless algorithm that had lots of collateral damage anymore. And at least they decided not to demote anymore. And now they decided to bubble up to the manual team, to a human being to make a judgment, because they realized their algorithm was too mercurial. But their human beings are too mercurial as well. Too cruel, actually. And they'll take a heavy hand. And so you guys got to watch out. Everyone thinks this new Penguin 4 thing is a holiday. It's not, right? It's now you're not trying to fool an algorithm anymore. Now you're trying to fool a human being. And that is much, much harder to do when you're doing backlinking stuff. So it's not easier in any way, shape, or form. So you might be thinking, okay, Josh, okay, so let me see. I want to make sure I get all the other information out. On October 5th, also, yeah, okay, so I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, okay. So here's the deal. And so then I had a hangout with John Mueller afterwards. And and this all dovetails into this question here. Is that, okay, Josh, well then how do we deal with Penguin 4? How do we deal with it? Okay, so this is how you would deal with Penguin 4. I've given you my Bible as how to deal with Penguin 1s through 3. Here is how I would deal with Penguin 4. And this is my educated, fully informed view now of how to deal with Penguin 4. This should be taken as my gospel above and beyond anything else that I have said. And this will probably be my story moving for the future unless new information comes out. But I think all the information about Penguin 4 that's going to come out has come out. So I believe now I'm in a place to give you a firm recommendation as to exactly how to handle this. And it's this. One, don't be building those kinds of links anymore. You don't need to. Number one, I rank sites without links every day. It's hard. It's difficult. It can't be done on every single niche. But I'm ranking sites in niches that are fully linked up, like with PageRank 4 or 5 sites. I'm competing with them with a PageRank 0 site because I know the other algorithms really well, and I was able to trick my way in to hack it in. That site's still ranking, right? I've showed it in my 2015 video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch my 2015 SEO video. So one, you don't have to be building those kinds of links. You can rank in other kinds of links. Two, it's only dangerous. And Gary Ilyish himself admitted, and Google always does this, that, oh, by the way, no one's making links anymore, and so we're going to start in the future, they say, in the future, we're going to rank, and when they say that, they mean we're already doing it. And they've done this a dozen times, at least a dozen times, with AMP, with HTTPS, with user metrics, and now with this, they're saying, by the way, in the future, just, we're going to have to take a look at ranking sites based on text mentions and not links. They already treat that as a no-follow link, and lots of experiments have already come out showing that no-follow links do help you rank because it changes your semantic, right, of what they think the site is about, even if it doesn't give you any more juice necessarily. I think it does. I think it gives you a diluted juice, like a 0.1% comparison to like the same kind of a do-follow link. And Google has already just admitted, because over 50% of people are searching on this. Nobody is editing HTML on this, right? No one's making a backlink on this. What they're doing is they're making social shares. And so Google has got to follow what people are doing. And Gary Illyes admitted that's what they're doing. And then in the future, they're going to be looking at social shares, no text mentions. He didn't say social shares. He said text mentions and stuff like that. But that's coming from social shares and blogs and things that don't actually link back, right? So one, you don't need to make, how do you deal with Penguin 4? Don't make any links that Penguin 4 is going to find in real time and flag as spammy. Don't be using GSA. Don't be using SENuke. It's good as a negative SEO tool to point at your competitors, but don't use it on your own sites because they're going to get Penguin flagged, and you get enough of those, it's going to bubble up to the manual team, and now you've got to trick the manual team into thinking those are natural links. Good luck. They'll take one look at those GSA sites, those SENuke backlinking sites, and give you a manual penalty. Boom, like that. And it's going to happen all of a sudden, right? And it's not going to happen, it's going to happen at random. It's going to happen on Tuesday for Tom. It's going to happen on next month for Sally. It's not going to be a big Barry Schwartz, I see disturbance in the SEO force. It's not going to work like that anymore. It's real time. It's going to bubble up to the manual team as it bubbles up to them based on how badly you're linking and how much you're doing it. So it's a great tool for negative SEO. So in trying to get rid of negative SEO, they've actually probably increased it. Because now you can fire up SENuke, you can fire up GSA, point those crap links at your competitors, make sure they're over-optimized. Whatever their page is optimized for, make sure you're over-optimized for that. And point it at them, and they're going to rank a little bit higher to start, and then they're going to get the manual action at some point. Because they told us this is how it works, right? Now, they said they had more logic built in to prevent that from happening. And basically, I asked John Mueller about that. And his admission was it's the majority of your backlinks. And they're going to look at the whole picture, quote unquote. He said they'll look at the whole picture. So what I think he means by that is that they have an entity understanding of each website and each person, right? So they know Josh Bachynski is an SEO. They know this. I'm in their entity database easily. And they know that the highest thing I use is Twitter, and they know that I make videos on YouTube, and they know that I'm about SEO, and I'm about martial arts, and I'm about TED Talks. They know the Josh Bachynski thing is about these other things, right? Because that's what I do, and you can search me about, and you can look for me about. Now, so the whole picture, I think what that's going to mean is I think they're going to look at, so let's say you had evil negative black hat guy trying to negative SEO his locksmith competitor. Now, locksmithing and highly competitive niches have been doing a lot of black hat SEO are going to have a rough time because they're like SEO is already synonymous in Google with black hattery. Locksmithing is already synonymous with black hattery. And, lawyers is already synonymous with black hattery. So I think they're going to look at the target entity and see if it talks on SEO black hat forums or if it knows about SEO black hat stuff. They know all this about you. They have all this information about you. If you're some mom and pop flower shop who knows nothing about black hat SEO, has never talked on an SEO forum in your life, and has nothing to do with anything like that, then if you got a bunch of black hat links pointed at you, then they'll probably ignore all of them, and the manual team will probably go, nah, I think this is just negative SEO, and just ignore them. That's my guess. That would be the best way to find out, and the best way to find out is ultimately what they're going to do. I've correctly guessed every move they've made since 2011. After they threw me a curveball with Panda. I'm like, what is this Panda? It was called Farmer at the time. I'm like, what is this Panda shit? Oh, okay, it's not just links and specificity anymore. And just like every other SEO in the industry, I was rocked. I was like, okay, totally from left field, didn't know this was coming. And then from 2011, I got on my big whiteboard. I wrote down, if I was going to catch spammers, how I would do it. Remember, I'm an academic as well with an IT background, so I think exactly like these other academics with an IT background. I've done programming, I've a programming background and an academic background. I have half a PhD. Google has hired full PhDs, probably with 2 PhDs and a postdoc, and like these brainiac guys. So I think like these guys, right? I can't code as well as they have, obviously, but I think along the same philosophical lines. And so I thought, if I was going to try and catch black hatters, this is how I would do it. And without hyperbole and without any bragging, guys, I'm telling you, I've guessed correctly everything they're going to do since 2011, because I understand web technologies, and I'm thinking, look, at the best signals are checking user metrics, and the new links signal is going to have to eventually change to social, because no one's making links anymore. The blogosphere is dead. So how do we get rid of Penguin 4? 1, don't build those kind of links to begin with. 2, don't be associated with any SEO black hat stuff on your main account. If you have been, change accounts and make the site owned by somebody new so you look squeaky clean, like you're just this dumb idiot who knows nothing about SEO. 3, don't over-optimize your pages. On October 5th, a colleague of mine and a client emailed me and said, hey, I popped back out of Penguin. Wow, isn't it great? I said, what'd you do? And he said, I didn't do anything. I rewrote my titles. He had a highly over-optimized page, and he de-optimized the page. He took out all the keywords from his page, and then he bopped out of Penguin. So it could be a coincidence. It could be the ongoing keyword algorithm that just runs on a regular basis. But this was on a confirmed Penguin date. It was on September 22nd. He popped out. And they already released all the Penguin sites, right? So this is the start of Penguin Real Time, September 22nd. Boom. Early in the morning, September 23rd or September 22nd, one or the other. Boom, he was released on that date. So that means, and the only change he'd made, no backlinks had changed, no disavow had been done. The only thing that was changed was the on-page web spam over-optimization. Remember, John Mueller always calls Penguin the web spam algorithm. He insists on doing so, and he insists on reminding us it's not just about backlinks. He said it's mostly about backlinks, but not only about backlinks, he says. And he confirmed that for me in a recent hangout, which I was there. You can go see it on October 21st. He also said at the time, so you can change your over-optimization. Don't build those kind of links to begin with. Don't be associated with black hat SEO in any way, shape, or form on your site or on the people who are related to the site that they know build the site. And you can get as tinfoil hat with that as you like. I'm just talking about their entity database of what they crawl and spider and know what's about. 3, don't over-optimize it at all. And that might be able to get the Penguin label off. 4, you can 404 out of it. I asked John Mueller if it's possible, because for Penguin 1 to 3, you could 404 the target page. So let's say you didn't link to your index page. Let's say you linked to some sub page like buyherbalpills.html on joshsbestherbapills.com. I could have 404'd that page, and then I would have lost the Penguin, because that link would have been removed from the link graph, and I would have lost the Penguin. John Mueller admitted many times that's how it worked. I asked him again on October 21st, just a few days ago, is that still how it's working? And he said yes. As far as he knows, you can, if you put a 404 on that target page from your backlink page, this backlink is dropped because that page doesn't exist anymore. You need a 1-to-1 correlation for the link to exist in their link graph. If it links to a 404, this link doesn't exist as far as their link graph is concerned, because they don't need to take it into consideration for their algorithms. And if this link is dropped in their link graph, then any labels on this link, like Penguin RT, Penguin Real Time, is also dropped as well. So there's those possibilities. If you've been doing backlinking to sub pages, which is all the rage in black hat stuff, it has been for a while, not just an index page, you could 404 those pages if you're stuck or you think you have a Penguin problem. But here's the thing. There's no way to know. So ultimately, the way I'm saying dealing with Penguin is this. Penguin 4 is this. Don't do that linking to begin with. I can show you all kinds of other ways to rank sites. If you want to know, email me, joshbachynski@gmail.com. If you have a bunch of those links, just leave it. Don't build any more. Don't over-optimize your pages. Make sure your pages are not over-optimized. Your title should not look like this. Buy red apples, pipe, best red apples, pipe, Josh's red apples. If red apples was the search phrase you want to rank for. That's what it should look like. It should be, wow, get the best red apples here, 2016. The keyword isn't there once. And you do need the keyword in your title, for sure, definitely. That's definitely still a thing. But you want it in there once. You don't want it in there multiple times. And that's the kind of over-optimization that we're talking about, that is like the correlation between over-optimization backlink page to over-optimization target page, and the link is pointing to it. And of course, the backlink page still has all this spammy stuff going on that's going to also sink you as well. So it's like 10 strikes, 10 possible things to look for Penguin, 3 strikes and you're out, and that link will get a Penguin flag on it. If you do think you've been hit by Penguin, should you disavow? No. I've already shown in my past videos, 8 separate sites that tried to disavow did not get out for this latest Penguin when it was released. So go back and look at my videos if you don't believe me, but you don't want to disavow. Google has already devalued those links. There's no need to disavow them. Now you might be thinking, but isn't that going to save me from a manual penalty? Maybe, but you don't know what links they're looking at, and you are invariably going to shoot yourself in the foot. I'm telling you, do not use a disavow file. You're going to pick lots of good links and put them in the disavow file. That might call them over. Too much disavowing might actually call the manual team over to take a look at you. So I would not disavow at all. It's like the possibility of cancer. You don't go, sorry for such a morbid example for any family or person who's had to go through that, but forgive me for that example, but that's what it's like. It's like some guy on the street walked up to you and said, hey, you might have cancer in a finger. And you decide, without a diagnosis from a real doctor, you decide to start cutting fingers off to try and make sure the cancer doesn't spread to the rest of your body. You do not cut off healthy flesh until you have a diagnosis of cancer. Vis-a-vis, in terms of Google terms, you do not go disavowing or deleting links until you've got the manual penalty in your inbox. And it has a manual penalty versus site. The manual penalty versus links, you leave alone, right? They've just said, hey, these links look suspect to us, we've removed them. Okay, you just leave it alone. You don't do anything because you can't get anything back. You can't make them recount those links anymore. You can't get any rankings back. If Penguin flags a link, you can't get it back. If they put it in a disavow versus links, you can't get it back. You can only possibly get your rankings slightly back if it's a manual penalty versus site and you convince them you'll never do it again and you delete some of those links. You've got to delete some of those links or show them how, look, these are all negative SEO attempts. I didn't do this. It's not me. And convince them that's the truth. You've got to convince a human being that's the truth. Then they'll put you back slightly, but they will still devalue all those links. They'll say, oh, okay, if they're negative SEO links, you don't need them. They're not supposed to count against you, and they will disavow them for you. So I hope that makes sense. This is how you should be dealing with Penguin, right? You should essentially be ignoring it. You should not be building those kinds of links to begin with. Nothing has really changed. The only thing that's changed is that it's not going to demote you algorithmically, and you have to wait 2 years. Now it's going to demote you manually eventually, and you're going to have to wait, hopefully, if you know how to handle it properly, a few weeks. But if you already had a manual action, you're screwed because 2 manual actions, 2 strikes, and you're out. That site will never rank the same again, ever. They will never trust you again. Fool them once, and they might let you out. Fool them twice, and they will never let you out, right? That's the kind of tactic they take. Fool me twice, shame on me. They will definitely, and John Mueller has point blank admitted this, if you have 2 manual actions on a site before, it will never rank like it was before. So I hope that makes sense as to deal with Penguin, how to deal with Penguin. If I went too fast, by all means, please go back and listen to that part again. Now, as I promised, I'm going to get to, very quickly, the most important Google leaks from the past 6 months. I'll get to them right down here. And again, I'm going to go rapid fire. But these are so good and so great that you really should listen to these. And after I say it, pause it. Think about it. Think about how that relates to you and your sites. Then press play and keep going. I'm just going to go rapid fire to try and round this video out to be no longer than an hour. Okay? Okay, so for the past 6 months, the most important Gary Ilyish leaks. Gary Ilyish. And if you want to know when and where he said these exactly, email me and I will find you the exact reference date. Okay? I can back all this up. I didn't make this up. This is from my notes. And to go rapid fire, I'm not going to mention the dates. Okay? Ready? Here we go. Gary Ilyish, the most important Google leaks of the past 6 months. Here we go. First, he said, more focused pages means you will get better traffic from search engines. Okay, so that's great. He said focalized, by the way. So more focalized pages. English is not his first language. We can't tease him too badly on that. He speaks like 6 languages, if I recall correctly, or 4 or 5 or something like that. So that he gets one word wrong in English, we're gonna let it slide for a guy who speaks 5 languages. But he said the more focused pages means you'll get better traffic from search engines. So again, some of you have been going, yeah, duh, Josh. But remember, keyword density matters. And I have another really good leak for you that the perfect keyword density, I found it. The perfect keyword density is one search phrase. You want to optimize a page for one search phrase. And that search phrase should appear in the main body text if it's a blog style page, the main body text every 200 words. No more, no less. Every 200 words, you want to mention that search phrase or a close synonym. And no more than that, and no less. And it should be in the title, it should be in the URL once, only once. And it could be in it should be in the H1 above those paragraphs of text. Only one H1, no more. And never put it bold and never put it italicized. This is from my correlation studies. Never put the keyword bold, never put the keyword italicized. But put a close synonym or a partial match variation bolded or italicized. But never, ever, this is correlated very badly with rankings, never the old SEO tactic of making it bold or italicized. Second thing from Gary Ilyish. He says, and I quote, "We don't want to index those pages," and he was talking about low quality pages. "We don't want to index those low quality pages, so end quote. So they crawl them less." And then he said later, and I quote, "If we are not indexing a page, it is likely due to the page quality or the quality of the parent page in the page hierarchy." This is a direct quote. He said, if we are not indexing a page, it is likely due to the page quality or the quality of the parent page in the page hierarchy. So remember, page quality and crawling are partly connected, right? Also speed of the server and also how often you update it. But remember, fresh content always ranks better. If a date signal helps at all for the user, and it does for most information, to know when this information was published is an important piece. Freshness matters, right? So what does this mean? What should you do based on this? One, if they're crawling you, if you don't have, I use a general rule of thumb of 10%. If you look in your search console and your page is crawled and the highest value, the lowest value is not 10% of the highest value, that's a problem. And that means they need to crawl you more. And that means you probably have a quality issue as well, and or a speed issue. And again, speed is also dovetails into quality issues. So it's this big conglomerate kind of problem that you got to watch out for. And so keep your speed up as well. The page should load under 3 seconds. I'm dead serious. This is important. The page should be usable at least under 3 seconds. And people will bounce away. And last but not least, you definitely want to make sure that the whole structure of the site is high quality or that page is high quality. Okay, next one. Will no-indexed pages rank back where they were? This is very interesting. Gilly Ilyish said, it depends on how long. If it's no-indexed for a few days, then it's very likely the signals are still lingering around. But if it was de-indexed or no-indexed for a few weeks or months, then no, he says. The links pointing to the page will still be there. So this is my interpretation. So he says no. Then my interpretation is the links pointing to the page will still be there, but there are other signals that don't stick around when the URL doesn't exist anymore. Oh, no, sorry, that's the full quote. So sorry, this is the full Gary Ilyish quote here. Sorry, I didn't see the quotations there. So this is what Gary Ilyish said. He was asked, will no-index pages rank back where they were? And he said, if it's just for a few days, it's very likely the signals are still lingering around. But if it's a few weeks or months, then no, the links pointing to the page will still be there. But there are other signals, he said, other signals that don't stick around when the URL does not exist anymore. So basically, that's a direct admission right there. If they were just ranking on specificity and links like they used to, then it should rank right back to where it was. And you know this, right? So if it was still 2007, which it's not, and if those SEOs who still say it's just links and text, nothing has changed, if they were right, then a page de-indexed would not rank back where it was. It would rank right back where it was. But pages who are de-indexed don't rank right back where they were because they have something called a quality score, because of the user metrics from RankBrain and from aka Panda, or the same thing of them checking user metrics and giving it a quality score. This still exists. This exists now, and so that quality score is going to be gone if the page is no indexed. So they can't rank it back to where it was. If it's a very trustworthy site, they will rank new pages highly, but it's going to have a very high quality score. And hilariously, in a bit, you're going to see John Mueller even admitted the word quality score, and then his face went all screwy like he knew he shouldn't have said that out loud. I'll get to that in a second. So guys, remember, I have a dirty word in my notes. Effing user clicks, that's not what I said in my notes. Effing user clicks and freshness matter, guys. I can't stress that enough. Okay, Gary Ilyish was asked about the crawl budget. And he said it's not a static number. It's based on the host load, which equals speed versus times the page rank, times the other signals, aka the quality score. So also the freshness of it, and it's also canonical version. So the crawl budget is that I mentioned before, that Gary Ilyish mentioned again, is based on a complex kind of algorithm, but it's the speed of the page versus the page rank of the page versus the quality score, the freshness, and whether it's canonical or not. So, and how much they trust the page. This is the most canonical version. So basically, you want to check what page are crawled most on your site. These are your best pages. So Google will tell you what it thinks your best pages are if you don't know. Check what pages Google crawls the most on your site. This is what it thinks your best pages are. And in fact, you could get a relative competitive analysis based on this alone. Okay, next, Gary Ilyish says, schema, structured data is, quote, very important. They rely on that more and more. Okay, so that's right from Gary Ilyish. Do that. He also said 60% of the spam reports are acted on. Here's another good piece of negative SEO information, that and also information not to screw over your competitors or try to look as squeaky clean as possible. He said that 60, and I quote, 60% of the spam reports are acted on. Great, so just put your competitors in the spam report, and 60% of the time that's going to be acted on by the team. And if your competitors have been doing any shady stuff, they're going to get hit. They're probably doing it to you, so do it to them. And then finally, when Gary Ilyish was asked as to whether or not they're using artificial intelligence to analyze links, he literally hides his face and point blank refuses to answer that question. So the answer is yes, they're using artificial intelligence for links, and the artificial intelligence that we know, it's RankBrain, and it's in Penguin 4, as I already mentioned. Okay, and here are the best leaks from John Mueller from the past 6 months. 1, he admits point blank that sufficient keywords do boost your ranking. So for example, a photographer's site with no keywords versus a page with keywords equals, and I quote, more relevant, more context. So keywords still do boost your ranking. Specificity still does matter. But as I said before, and rewind it if you need to get it over again, you want the keyword once in the paragraphs, once every 200 words, no more, but no less. You want it once in the title, once in the URL, once in the H1 heading, no duplicate H1 headings, no duplicates in the meta description or talking in those meta areas there at all. Once. As long as Google knows what it's about, you're fine. Then John Mueller said, it can take months to recover from a URL change. And then, so again, this is talking about the fact that they use a quality score. So both John Mueller, I have a big long thing, I'm just gonna summarize it for you. Again, this is talking about the fact that they have a quality score, and they know the desktop user journey, to quote a Google employee, Andrei Lepatsev, that's his name, yeah. Andrei Lepatsev, who is another webmaster trends analyst in the Dublin office, a Russian fellow, a young, handsome Russian fellow, who unfortunately Google doesn't let talk very much anymore because he's a young, brash Russian fellow. He doesn't like to mince his words, and so he's released too many leaks and he's not allowed to talk anymore. Literally. The last talk he had, he had John Mueller there breathing down his neck not to say the wrong thing, which happened to John Mueller once, and Pierre Farr was there to breathe down John Mueller's neck not to say the wrong thing. And Pierre Farr since left Google, is now an SEO, independent SEO. So anyway, John Mueller's admitted as well that there's this thing called a quality score, and it's important. And if you want more information about how that works, I've talked about it before. I can email me, I'll tell you how it works. But it's user quality. What are users doing on your site? Are they satisfied or are they not? He also mentioned, this is important, and don't forget, he said the geo-targeting selector in Search Console does do something. So Mueller confirmed that in Search Console, that geo-targeting selector, it does do something. And if you have it set for the right geographic location, you will rank better in those locations, but you will rank worse in other locations. And a location is none. None is a location. So if you want to rank for everywhere, you want to select none, that there's no geographic limiter that you'd be putting on your site. So keep that in mind. You have to go in your Search Console and set that properly. But remember, if you do that, your rankings are going to go like this, and they should hopefully settle in the right place. So don't do that. If everything's perfectly fine and you're ranking exactly where you want or good enough, don't touch anything, right? If you're ranking on page 1 and things are good enough and you're making sales and you can survive, don't rock the boat. If it ain't broke, don't go messing with it. Don't fix it. Okay, next John Mueller thing. But if it's not, and you know you're only for the UK, and so check your geographic selector or something like that. Check your geographic selector and see what it says. It could very well be auto-selected to US. Sometimes they get that wrong, so check. Okay, next thing. Mueller states point blank that it's still very important to have your specific keywords you want to rank for on that page as primary content, and the users can see it as well. So again, he confirms keyword density is still important. Are you seeing a theme? Are we seeing a theme yet? Okay, so here's something. So that's the 6 best John Mueller leaks that where he was directly stating what was important, I think. Oh, no, sorry. I still have some more. Then I have one from me. That I mentioned before. Okay, so here's some more John Mueller leaks. Okay, I got another page left here. Yes, now I know what I'm doing. Shouldn't be smoking crack before these things. Okay, he also mentioned that the HTTPS algorithm is a page-based algorithm, and that if you're going to transfer to HTTPS, you should move a section of pages at a time. So make a section of pages HTTPS, put the canonical to the HTTPS, and see what Google picks them up and see how your rankings change, and do it slowly over time. If you switch your entire site over to HTTPS in one fell swoop, you're going to have problems. You are going to lose rankings for a few days, if not weeks, possibly permanently, because they need to recalculate your quality score, right? And if you are running on a quality score that was good based on your good season, and then you do the HTTPS in your bad season, or you got a bunch of bad traffic at that time, you can set a low quality score, and it might take them some time to trust you again and recalculate a better quality score. So this is not what John Mueller admitted, but this is what we now know how it works and how I can fill in the blanks for you. So again, be very careful when you move any URL move whatsoever. He also admitted very recently that if you want to see how much Google can process of your JavaScript, use the fetch and render tool. He said the fetch and render tool is what he uses, and it is a pretty faithful tool to determine of how much of your page they can read. And he said Googlebot cannot just see what Chrome can see. So you got to see what Googlebot can see, and then it'll tell you if they can read your JavaScript. And then I don't know, you might be able to use that for some cloaking, just saying whatever. And the kind of JavaScript that they don't process, by the way, are interstitial windows like a cookie window, or the kind of JavaScript that would process an age verification interstitial. Some guy tested and whether or not they would do any other kind of JavaScript processing, but you can't trust that test because Google will not only they'll parse the entire page, but they'll only rank you on the visible content. But they read the entire HTML. So if you have JavaScript saying some kind of text down here to see if Google will trigger that JavaScript, you don't know. Because they read the entire HTML, but they only rank you in normal rankings based on the page. If you do verbatim search, you're not looking in the normal rankings anymore, right? If you want more information as to what I meant by that, email me, because I don't want to spend too much more time. So here's where John Mueller accidentally admitted that they do have a quality score. It was very recently in the last couple of Hangouts. And he said the word quality score, and it's based on past actions, and he basically admitted how it's worked. I believe it was Mihai asking these questions. And so basically he admitted it's just like the Panda patent they rolled out in 2012. They watch the search, the click on the SERP to your page, what they do on the site, you go back, either you convert and or you go back to your page. Based on those actions, they calculate a score of how well you converted them, how well you terminated the search, and that is your quality score. And that's what RankBrain does. And it takes a few months to compare your quality score to everybody else's in your shards they bring up for that search. So the top 1,000 sites, the top 10 sites, or whatever it is, in the page 1 rankings, and then whoever has and then they filter out all the noise of traffic that isn't converting, and that's your quality score, and that's 30% of the ranking algorithm right there, with content and with offsite references, including links and social and things like that. And I believe now it's probably around 50%, and I have an experiment to prove that. I'm doing a future video. Okay, and finally, last but not least, John implies that they do use the who is information, including domain age, privacy, and in some search cases. So remember, domain age is important. It's still important if you have a long-standing domain that's been on the same content and same topic for a long time. That is a good ranking signal. And if it's not a private registration, if it's a public registration, because then you're standing for that content. I have an entire list of other kind of things the quality team has been looking at, and that's on my website, themoralconcept.net. That's the leaked panda list, but I can also send you the URL to that. Okay. John Mueller implies freshness is a general ranking factor. I already said that. Yeah. So anyway, so those have been probably the most direct point-blank leaks from Gary Ilyish and John Mueller from the past 6 months. Again, it's been reiterating what I've been talking about. So, the picture is pretty clear. RankBrain is 30 to 50% of the ranking algorithm, which is Panda, which is user metrics, which is quality score, which has to do with your design and your content, how well you're terminating the search. Google's been talking about that for years, and now they're doing it. And they have been doing it for a couple of years. Penguin is just devaluing links, but it's going to bubble you up to the manual team. And so that's how that's working. And the secret dinosaurs will rank you as well, those guys. So so that's the end of this video. Rambled on long enough. If you have any questions at all, email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. And again, remember, this SEO Rockstars conference is coming up. I can go over all this in a great more detail about how it's working and open up my audit. There's about 30 or 40 things in SEO that if you're not doing it or if you're doing it wrong, you will not rank. I repeat, there's about 30 to 40 things in SEO that if you're not doing it or you're doing it wrong, you will have serious ranking issues. And that's all in my report, my audit report, and that's all what I'm going to be giving out at this conference. All the kind of the background information and more experiment stuff that I have to make some of these claims that I made today. I'll be going through all that information. So if you want to go to this conference or if you want to get this information, either one, I can consult for you and we can discuss it over the phone. If you can't make it to this conference, or come to the conference and it'll be a good time. I'll be there personally. We can hang out in Disney. It'll be a fantastic time. And if you have any other SEO questions, just a quick question, by all means. You don't have to hire me as a consultant. I'll answer a 5-minute question. I have no problem answering a 5-minute question. Again, you can email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can follow me for quick SEO tidbits on Twitter at joshbachynski. And again, you can see more SEO experiments, more leaks, more analysis like this of what Google is doing and the actual things that Google is doing, not what the kind of mainstream people who are selling links are telling you they're doing and whatnot, at youtube.com/jbachynski, JBACH-. So with that, I bid you a fond farewell and good luck in the SERPs. And we'll see you next time.